Theme for this year's World Breastfeeding Week is Protect Breastfeeding, a shared responsibility. According to the World Health Organization, breastfeeding is one of the most effective ways to ensure child health and survival. But what's in breast milk, one may ask? Mature breast milk is perfectly designed and contains water, fat, carbohydrates, protein, vitamins and minerals and amino acids. Here are some expert tips to sail through the first year of breastfeeding for new mothers. Initiation of breastfeeding within the first hour of birth, followed by exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months and continued breastfeeding for up to 2 years or beyond, offers a powerful line of defense against all forms of child malnutrition, including weight loss and obesity.
I knew it was going to come naturally. That's what everyone had told me. They were like, don't worry, it's going to come to you. So I didn't worry. I knew my body would know what to do because all the reading I'd been doing was telling me, don't worry, your body will know what to do, trust your body. So I was ready to breastfeed her and just see how, I was ready for the bonding mostly.
It is not always as natural an experience for everyone.
When she was born with a tongue tie, and I kind of knew that going, as soon I saw it immediately, but I didn't want to get it sorted out until I was confident in my milk. So I had my nipples were cracked. It was really painful. I didn't enjoy breastfeeding at all. In fact, she would cry and I would cry a little bit on the inside, oh, here we go again.
Motherhood can be quite overwhelming for a new mother.
I have been able to exclusively breastfeed for 5.5 months. This girl was ready to eat at that. 2 weeks ago, she was just like, okay, give me food. But yeah, I've been able to express. At first, I didn't like expressing. It was so painful. It was so painful. In fact, I thought I didn't have the right size flange for the breast pump. But I got the hang of it. I think with practice, it just gets better.
And while breastfeeding acts as baby's first vaccine, hospitals are being called upon to support new mothers in the breastfeeding journey, pre- and post-delivery of their babies.
I remember at the hospital, they had a quick class about, how to bathe your baby, how to breastfeed, when you should do this, when you should do that. And I remember feeling, that's it? That's all they're telling me? I've never done this before. And I was scared because my milk wasn't coming in yet. Then when it did come in, it was painful. And I kept thinking, is this what every mother goes through? But I remember my cousin told me something, pain is not normal. It's not normal. Get help. If there's someone who can help you, get help. So I did.
Here, Siti. Here.
You need to have the head like that, so that the baby is breathing.
Wangeshi, also known as Mama Mudhoni, is a certified lactation counselor and child nutrition practitioner. She takes us through breastfeeding lessons that every mother should know.
Basics of breastfeeding, the number one thing is positioning. So I always encourage moms that when you're holding your baby's tummy, whatever breastfeeding position you choose to do, your baby's tummy needs to be facing your tummy. So that would look something like this. In this hold, it will be like that. In this hold, it would be like that. So the tummy always needs to be facing your tummy, and that means baby's whole body is facing you. Then there'll be a line from the baby's head all the way down, imaginary line, completely facing you. The number two thing is where your nipple falls on your baby. Your nipple would then fall right where your baby's nose is, and this would look something like this. So nose, nipple, and then you tickle the top of the baby's mouth, and then most times the baby looks a bit confused. So they'll do this, and this is the point where sometimes moms think baby's a bit frustrated, but not really, it's science. So the more the baby hits, number one, they're signaling your breast to get a letdown. So a letdown is what most moms feel from here. It's like pins and needles. Sometimes it feels painful. So it's your milk actually coming in. Your hormones have now produced the milk that the baby is going to take. So the baby is going to look a bit confused. Then what they will do is that they'll face up and take the breast. Now, once the baby has latched, things to look out for, the baby's chin and cheeks need to be holding the breast, touching, sorry, not holding. So that would look something like that, just the same way the doll is. So baby's head is looking up, in chin and cheeks are touching the breast. And when that happens, the mouth is wide open and the nose always comes out. No matter how big your breast is, the baby's nose will always come out. Another thing is, as a baby breastfeeds, the cheeks always need to be rounded, and the baby should not be having dimples, which would be like this. And that would mean that the baby is actually strewing the nipple and not actually having a complete latch. The only sound that you should be hearing is like k, 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 which signifies that the baby is swallowing. There should be no clicking, there should be no smacking. Smacking is like, which also again signifies that the baby is only latched onto your nipple. Yeah. Another thing also is where the baby's hands go. No mittens, please. The fingers, I know sometimes they look confused, but it's actually not confusion. So when you're trying to latch your baby, sometimes they look like they're doing this. But guess what they're doing? They're actually trying to signal your breast to produce milk. And sometimes also in the middle of the feed, you'll notice that they start hitting you again. What is the baby trying to do? They just need another letdown. They need more milk, so they'll do that. So baby's hands need to be hugging the breast.
Her social media, Mama Muthoni, includes more content on tips for lactating.
So a bit of sensitivity, especially as a first-time mom, is normal, but it shouldn't be super painful. And the pain should not last more than just a few seconds. So if the pain is throughout your breastfeeding session, there's something wrong with the latch. But if it's a bit of sensitivity, especially as a first-time mom, or the first week after birth, that is normal. Now, how to prevent the pain? One, you can always get a breastfeeding class or a birth class that teaches you how to breastfeed.
The Breastfeeding Mothers Bill 2019 requires employers to provide breastfeeding mothers with the time and space to freely express breast milk, prescribes minimum standards for lactation stations, and introduces penalties for non-compliant employers.
You should feed the baby, not a clock. So that means feed on demand. Most times in hospital, we are told feed every 3 hours, but I find this directive a bit misleading because every 3 hours is actually a directive meant for you as a new mom not to forget. So it's the minimum amount of times that you're supposed to be feeding your child. But what this does to a mom whose baby is feeding every hour, hour and a half, they start thinking, I don't have milk. But yet, actually, it's very normal for your child to feed even 12 times a day and not the 7 times that it works out to, or 8 times that it works out to if you're feeding every 3 hours. So just feed on demand. And if your baby is gaining weight, then what you're doing is the right thing.
According to the World Health Organization, breastfeeding does not need to be discontinued during COVID-19 infection nor following vaccination of the mother.
One of the things I encourage moms is if you don't have enough milk, especially in the first days in hospital, and your baby needs to be given a supplementation, one of the things you can do is try and express into a cup. Especially if you're a preemie mom, it's very important for you to pump every 3 hours at night. And even if your baby is only taking, let's say, 200 ml of milk in hospital and you're getting the 200, so you don't feel the need to pump at night. But it's very important for you to keep pumping, especially at night, because that's when the hormone prolactin is highest. And if you do not remove milk in the middle of the night, that means the whole of your milk supply during the day is going to be affected. With burping, you can... So there's a diaphragm somewhere here. So you position that here and then press it. That's one way. Another way is raise one leg. No. So like that, raise, then this one is down, then like that. Still with the diaphragm here. Then you do that. Then another way, this is my favorite one, is basically pressing the baby's body down into the diaphragm. And then release, put there, and do that. And most times by about time number 2, they'll burp. Baby's tired.